All right. Hello, friends, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Dreambound. Let me tell you guys, this episode we return to the adult story, and I think it's just because we've spent so long talking about the teenage versions of our characters and everything that was going on in the past that it feels weird to be adults again. It feels like we should still be going through some of the teen story. We should be seeing these characters as they were in high school. That recording for this episode and like seeing Kaine and Noah as adults, I was like, what is going on here? But we have a little bit of some story things to talk about, a little bit of catching up from the years that Noah was just in his house, and it's definitely some interesting things, so I'll let you see that and continue on with our story. It was around 6 p.m. when Kaine got back from work, just as he said on the note he affixed to his fridge. Kaine looked weary after his day spent in the office, and his skin was uncommonly sallow, his eyes underscored with bags. Kaine looked so rough, Noah couldn't suppress a flicker of worry for his childhood friend. And he always tells me to take care of myself. He should look in a mirror before he starts coming out with all that. Noah tried to keep his voice even, however, smooth and unbothered, when he spoke to Kaine. Busy day? When isn't it? Kaine sighed as he slid off his shoes at the front door. Can't say I've been sleeping very well lately, so that doesn't help. I can tell. You look, not to be an ass, but you look like a mess. Well, it's unlike you to compliment me so much. Kaine chuckled, and Noah sighed. I don't need to flatter your ego. We've known each other long enough now. We have. Yeah. But white lies exist for a reason. Do you want me to tell you that you look like a fashion model then? Could you? Honestly, that made me feel a lot better. Fine. You look runway ready. Honestly, you ought to get more sleep. It'll do you wonders. Says you. Kaine snorted. Such a hypocrite. It is your fault, you know, that last night was so rough. Bro, you said you were okay with sleeping on the couch. Why? Because you had to sleep on the couch? I did say you could use the bed. No, not that. My couch is pretty comfortable, actually. I can tell that just by looking at it. Kaine's job must be pretty good. He definitely makes a lot of money. It was harder to sleep is all, because I was so busy worrying. I swear if I get early wrinkles, I'm going to cry. What exactly were you worrying about? About you, of course. Oh. Well, maybe I should have expected that. He's always fussing about me. You don't need to worry, you know. I'm fine. I'd like to think so. You look a bit better than usual, at least. Thanks. You look worse. Something weird is going on, and I hate having to leave you here alone. I know I'm probably being paranoid here, but... I mean, I understand, but I feel fine. I don't really feel like I'm in danger. People often don't before bad things happen to them. Noah frowned. He thought, once again, of the news report, which he'd heard a few hours ago. Did Kaine know about Luca? How could he approach the subject, though? What was the most natural way to bring it up? Perhaps there was no natural way to let it slip that a mutual acquaintance had recently died. It wasn't the sort of thing Noah had much experience in. Though if these murders keep continuing as they have, I'm sure I'll get better at it. Like most things in life, it just requires a bit of practice. I'm not sure if you heard already, but Luca, he died. Noah surveyed Kaine intently, scrutinizing every subtle shift in his expression. He was unsure what, exactly, he was expecting, but... Oh, right. Luca, huh? Well, I'd rather that it's him, not you. Detached indifference, wasn't it? Kaine didn't look even a little bit shocked by this news. It was almost as though he'd been waiting for it. Did he know already? Well, I mean, same, but that's not really the point. Did you already know about it? Kaine nodded. Yeah, I did. An article about it came up when I was at the office. Right. Well, that would explain his lack of a reaction. I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know already. And, what do you think about it? Do you want me to think anything about it in particular? I don't know. I thought you might have an opinion, that's all. I mean, we did go to school with the guy. You want my opinion? Kaine's expression hardened. I think the guy was an asshole, and it couldn't have happened to a better person. Really? That doesn't sound like Kaine at all. Every word. That guy was a dick, Noah. Didn't he harass you when we were back at school? That's true. The guy was a manipulative jackass all over. And that feels like something of an understatement. But I don't know if he deserved to die. Maybe he does. I just don't know. I never said anything about him deserving it. I'm sure there are some people out there who'll be upset about it, but I can't count myself among them. That's all. I'm not going to act all cut up about the plight of some guy I haven't spoken to in years, who went out of his way to be an asshole to my best friend. That's all there is to it. Well, I guess that does make sense. Why would Kaine be upset about this? It's not like he and Luca were close. I wonder why this is bothering me so much. Right. I get it. I only brought it up because I thought it was strange. Otherwise, I'd say fuck the guy. Strange how? Luca's related to me, just like Sebastian. Noah swallowed. And my parents. Well, you're not wrong about that. It's definitely not looking good. I mean, you do kind of seem to be in the middle of this, yeah? You're telling me. I thought Luca might have been a target after I heard about Sebastian. It would fit the supposed pattern. It happened very suddenly, though. The killer didn't even give it one day before they struck again. Whoever they are, they're not exercising very much restraint. Do you think they're maybe just impulsive? Or reckless? Reckless, or in a hurry. Who knows? If they're killing people in their dreams, maybe they're worried there's a time limit on these powers. So you think they're trying to get rid of their victims as quickly as possible, while they still have the chance? Could be. Hard to say for sure. I'm just guessing. Well, you were right about Luca. You're not bad at making guesses. I've always been pretty good at problem solving. All right, Mr. Golden Child, give me a break. Kaine smiled, though the tiredness in his eyes stayed. There's my idea gone, though. Wonder who will be next. Noah frowned. He steepled his fingers together and furrowed his brow in thought, his expression pensive. He'd never missed Luca, but it made him think of someone else. I wonder how Rosamie will feel about this. Noah mumbled this more to himself than to Kaine, but Kaine overheard regardless. What about Rosamie? Don't tell me you're worrying about her too. I swear you think of everyone except for yourself. She was kind of there for me in the end, after August. I wouldn't say we were friends exactly, but she didn't get along with Luca at all either. But they are siblings. Or were, rather. I guess. Living with Luca must have been tough. Noah's voice trailed off. He didn't want to think what Luca might have been capable of. He manipulated me for months, the little shit, and I could tell he enjoyed every single moment of it. But would he really do that to his own sister? I like to believe that even Luca had standards, but who knows with that guy. It would have been tough for her back then, but there's not much use worrying about her now. She probably doesn't even know about the Luca thing. I mean, she's been missing for years. Oh. What? Noah stared at Kaine, momentarily dumbstruck by this revelation. Rosamie went missing? Since when? Kaine pondered, his arms folded. She stopped coming to school around the same time as you did. It caused a bit of a stir at the time, with her being such a model student. Her parents sent the police out looking for her. It was all over the news. Months went by, but she never showed up. I don't think she was ever found. As far as anybody knows, she ran away from home. Maybe she had too much of Luca after all. Kaine smiled at Noah lopsidedly, perhaps hoping that this joke would ease his frazzled nerves. It didn't. If anything, Noah felt even more on edge. Wait, she said something like that to me. That she was running away, but I thought she would have gotten back in contact with her family at some point. Or at least left a note? You said she still hasn't been found? Not as far as I know. At this point, it's been 6 years. If she was ever going to show up, I think she would have done it by now. Could she have been killed? The ease with which Kaine had said this word was alarming. He sounded so unconcerned about Rosamie, it made Noah's stomach churn. But why would Kaine care about her? He was never close to Rosamie. I don't know if they ever even spoke. All these years, I never even thought about her. She ran away and then I just forgot she existed. It's been 6 years. What the hell? She might have been, I guess, but her parents had the police do a pretty thorough search. They scoured the mountains and all the rivers, too. Nothing turned up. They didn't find a trace of Rosamie. She told you she was gonna run away, and you didn't tell anyone? I was only concerned with myself back then. And I still am. And I ran away not long after her. So, no, I didn't tell anyone. For some reason, I thought she wouldn't really do it. It just didn't seem like her. She always acted like the perfect daughter. People are capable of doing all sorts of things, especially when they feel overwhelmed or trapped or, I don't know, backed into a corner. Do you think Rosamie felt trapped? I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. I didn't know her well enough. I hope she managed to get far away and just decided to go no contact rather than... God. 6 years. Has it really been that long? How did I never hear about this? Did anyone else know? The whole town knew about it. It was a big thing. 2 teenagers disappeared nearly the exact same day. Of course people talked about both of you. You knew she ran away, so why are you acting so angry about it? I don't know. I just feel like you could have told me. Would you have cared? Well, Look, Noah, I'm sorry if this sounds harsh, but you were in a bad way back then. You had enough problems of your own to deal with, without all of this shit with Rosamie to worry about. I didn't think you needed to know. Hell, I didn't even think you'd care. I didn't know you were close. It's just weird, I guess, hearing that no one was ever able to get back in contact with her. I thought somebody would have said something. I'm saying something now. 6 years later. Well, you never asked about her. It's a hell of a topic to bring up out of the blue, too. How exactly did you think I was going to work it into casual conversation? Hey, Noah, I've dropped by with some leftovers. Make sure you remember to eat and to shower and to stay hydrated. Oh, and by the way, do you remember Rosalie Bellworth? Yeah, she went missing 6 years ago, and we still don't know where she is. Okay, that'll be everything. Have a good day. Noah fell silent. He looked at his lap, his lips pressed into a line. Then, quietly, he mumbled, "Well, you don't have to be a dick about it." I'm not being a dick, I'm being practical. There would have been no point in worrying you about this. I knew I'd only make you feel bad, and it has. It's making me wonder whether you're in the right frame of mind to keep looking into this case if this stuff has shaken you so much. I don't want you worrying yourself into an early grave, not over people you barely knew. I don't need to know them to care about them. It's common decency. It's not like I'm distraught about this either. It's a lot to process, that's all. If I seem shaken, it's because this is a stressful situation. People are dying, Kaine. Of course I'm worried. Wish you wouldn't. It's not good for you. Yeah, well, I do a lot of things that aren't good for me. What's one more to add to the pile? I feel like that's all the more reason why you shouldn't get involved. But you already said that you'd help me. You aren't going to go back on your word, are you? If I do, it'll be for your own good. I worry about you. I know you worry about me, but I'm more worried about all these people who keep dying. I can't sit around and do nothing. That might be a bit hypocritical, coming from me, given I spent years of my life sitting around doing nothing. But it's not too late to change it. Surely Kaine should be happy that I'm so motivated. For a few moments, Kaine fell silent. Then, with a sigh, he relented. All right. You have a point. I did say that I'd help you, and I don't want to let you down. It'd be pretty scummy of me, and I think you've been let down enough already. Just give me some time, all right, to get the rest of my work done. I need just a few days, that's all. Right, he did mention that. That was before Luca died, though. Seems a bit careless, putting things off when lives are on the line. But I guess that's easy for me to say. I don't have a job. Alright, I'll give you that much, so long as you promise you won't try and talk me out of this. Believe me, I'd like to. I know you well enough, though, to know that that would be a waste of time. You're incredibly stubborn. If anybody else had told Noah this, he would have bristled indignantly in response. There's nothing particularly complimentary about being called stubborn. But when it came from Kaine, Noah knew he meant it as a compliment. The ensuing week passed surprisingly quickly. Kaine went to work in the mornings, leaving Noah to his own devices during the day. While Kaine worked in the office, Noah curled up on Kaine's couch, or on his balcony. Kaine had been right. The view there was spectacular, flipping through Kaine's books, or doodling in his sketchbook. Noah's doodles were messy, unfinished things, owing to years spent being unable to put a pencil to paper, but they were better than nothing. It was easier to draw in Kaine's apartment than it had been in his own. Maybe the change of pace had helped. Noah hadn't been able to craft anything as intricate as the paintings he did after returning from Dreams, but he could feel his passion returning, bit by bit. Kaine finished up his work in the office and was able to get a full week's worth of vacation, just as he had promised. Noah, meanwhile, finally mustered up the courage to call Asher. The call was a clipped, perfunctory affair, as most of Noah's conversations with Asher tended to be. Asher sounded surprised that Noah had called him at all. It was almost as though he had forgotten the text he had sent him, and maybe he had. Noah had to wonder whether Asher hadn't sent it while he had been drunk. He had never taken Asher to be the sort who drank, but he hadn't taken Asher to be the sort to fail his classes, either. Asher didn't sound too pleased to hear Noah's voice, but he agreed to Noah's visit regardless. Yes, you might as well come over. There's a lot of shit I need to sort out for the funeral. Having you around the house might be helpful, so long as you don't spend your time holed up in your room like you did after August bit the bullet. God, you were miserable back then. It was unbearable. That bastard. Asher's words were callous enough to ignite all of Noah's old feelings of resentment towards his brother. He had hoped, after meeting Asher in his dream, his brother might have changed. Evidently, he had been deluding himself. Kaine had been right. Expecting anything of Asher other than vitriol would be setting himself up for disappointment. Noah inhaled deeply in an attempt to steady himself. Then, his fingers curled tightly about his phone, he muttered, "Well, it's your lucky day. I don't give a shit about Mom and Dad, so I'm not going to start bawling my eyes out about them. You don't have to worry about a thing." Wow, how cold. They were buried already. I bet our parents be turning over in their graves hearing you say shit like that. Were you always this brutal? I don't know. Maybe I learned it from you. If only you could have learned how to be a responsible adult from me, too. That's funny, coming from a guy who keeps forgetting to pay his rent. I guess Asher doesn't remember that conversation. If I brought it up now, I bet it'd really fuck him up. But there's no point antagonizing him. I haven't even seen him yet, and we're already arguing. Maybe this really was a bad idea. I would have appreciated it, if you called a little earlier, like after Mom and Dad croaked. I've been trying to sort all this shit out all on my own for the last week. You could have taken more of an interest. They were your parents, too. I didn't think you'd want me to take an interest. You've only ever treated me like a bother. As you are. High time you got your act together, though. Mom and Dad aren't here to hold your hand anymore. You can't keep hiding from the world. Not hiding. I said I'd come and help, didn't I? Eventually, I guess. Well, better late than never. Just don't fuck things up too much, alright? I have enough on my plate to worry about. Sure. I'm looking forward to seeing you too, Asher. Whatever. Asher snorted. Then, there was silence. Did he just hang up on me? Real mature. Noah rolled his eyes. Then, he frowned. Come to think of it, I never did get to tell him that Kaine was coming with me. Well, whatever. I can cross that bridge when I get to it. Alright, we'll have a busy day ahead of us tomorrow, so I've made something pretty hearty. I hope you like I hope you like food. Kaine announced this with a sunny smile as he plated up the food, then set it down on the table. The food did look good, Noah supposed. The gratin was a hearty brown and yellow color, crispy on the top and piping hot. Kaine was a talented chef. His homemade lunches back at school had been leaps and bounds ahead of the sandwiches most of the other boys brought in. And yet, Noah toyed with his fork distractedly. The food might have looked good, and it definitely smelled good, but he wasn't hungry. Kaine, noticing Noah's disinterest, frowned. What's wrong? Don't tell me you don't like potatoes. Is that what that word means? It's a type of potato. Most of this dish is potato, actually. Potato, cream, and cheese. You can make gratins with veggies, too, like leeks or sweet, like Swedish people. But I figured a plain old potato one would go down better. I mean, everybody likes potatoes, right? Potatoes are fine, I guess. I just haven't felt very much like eating in general. Then that's all the more reason to eat. You've got to get some food in you if you want to feel your best for tomorrow. Feel my best? Huh. Now that's a joke if I've ever heard one. Can't remember the last time I felt marginally alright, let alone at my best. Maybe cooking isn't Kaine's true talent after all. He should try being a comedian. Noah continued to nudge his food with a fork, his expression pensive. I know you're right, I guess. Wow, you're actually admitting it? That feels like a huge step coming from you. But I don't know if I can eat right now. I'm too busy thinking. About tomorrow? Noah nodded. I mean, we'll be going back to that place. And I'll be seeing Asher. I don't think there's very much to celebrate there. Well, I can't exactly blame you for being anxious. But I think it'll be nice to spend a bit of time with you, even if the circumstances aren't the best. It's been a while, after all. Noah fell silent, his gaze downturned. Kaine was right about that much, at least. It really had been a while. Noah knew it was wrong to think about this trip as a holiday, particularly when the specters of numerous corpses hung over them, but at the very least, I should try and enjoy Kaine's company. When was the last time I hung out with him like this, anyway? Can't remember. Noah ate as much of his meal as he thought he could manage, the tines of his fork scraping against his plate. Once he'd finished, he offered to clean the dishes. It seemed the least he could do after everything Kaine had done for him, but Kaine refused. We'll have a long drive tomorrow. You should get some rest. No offense, but you look like you could use it. Offense taken, and you're the one who'll be doing all the driving. Shouldn't you be the one to rest? Well, yeah, but I'll be fine. I'm made of sturdy stuff. Implying I'm not? I'm implying nothing, though I will state that I know where all the utensils go. Do you? Well, that's what I thought. Now, go and relax. Have a bath or something. Read a book. Ugh. I know he's trying to look out for me, but he's being a bit too sweet. Doing a few dishes is hardly back-breaking manual labor. But, whatever. There's no point arguing with him, not over something so minor. Alright, if you want to do the dishes so much, knock yourself out. I won't spoil your fun. Thanks. Noah made to leave the kitchen, but paused, glancing back at Kaine from over his shoulder. I have one question, though. Yeah? Shoot. Why are you doing all this for me? Why haven't you given up on me? Why do you care so much? Why are you so determined to do all the housework? Don't tell me you really enjoy it. Not when I'm looking after myself, no. But when I'm doing it for you? Kaine smiled. Pretty rewarding in its own right. Noah glanced away, concerned to find how flushed his face felt. Still as corny as ever. It's true, though. I've not forgotten, you know, that invitation I gave you to be your personal maid. Ooh. Don't you want to take me up on the offer? Even if I didn't, you'd act like my maid anyway. You've been cooking for me for years. True. All I'm really missing is this skimpy dress and the apron. Do you think I should pick one up? Maybe update my look? No thanks. You're aggravating enough as you are without turning yourself into an eyesore. Kaine's laughter followed Noah as he entered the living area. Noah settled down on the couch with his sketchbook, doodling idly. He wasn't paying much attention to what he was sketching. He drew whatever came to his head, the graphite skimming against the page. It wasn't until a few minutes later, when he had an eye sketched out and a nose, that Noah realized what, or rather, who, he was drawing. He was drawing Kaine. Wow. I really have been spending a lot of time with him. I don't think I've ever drawn him before. Not even back in high school. At least I didn't give him a maid outfit. I don't think I'd be able to look him in the eye after that. Noah and Kaine passed the rest of the evening uneventfully, until Kaine suggested he sleep. Noah decided to take the suggestion as opposed to fighting it. He was getting tired, and Kaine had been right. He would need all the stamina he had to face tomorrow. I know I agreed to this, but I can't say I'm looking forward to seeing Asher. Noah changed, yawning as he did, and retreated beneath the sheets. He hadn't felt too tired earlier, but he must have been more fatigued than he thought. His mind began to drift the moment his head brushed against the pillow. His consciousness began to unravel, his anxieties melting away, one by one, and he fell asleep. Noah's sleep was not restive, however. The moment he closed his eyes, he felt as though he was falling. That's what I figured. Yep, here we go. All right, and with that, I think I'm going to end this episode here. It seems like a good time since we are entering a new dream. I could definitely feel that dream coming. I feel like you guys could have probably felt that coming as well. We were just spending a little bit too much time talking about Noah falling asleep. But in the next episode, we will see what he dreams about, whose dream it is, probably, and see what sort of wacky things Noah's going to have to put up with this time. But I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here for now. So, thank you for watching this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one for some more Dreambound.